So we got our first looks at the brand new reworked proceed system, as well as some perks that are going to be changed. Let's talk about it. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. We have some exciting news for you guys in Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight have tweeted out an image of all of the perks that are going to be changed, as well as a quick sneak peek of what's to come in the new upcoming Prestige system. And if you guys aren't subscribed, by the way, please hit the subscribe button down below. We're trying to hit 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And if you think you are, double check, because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. Over 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so it'd mean the world to me. All right, enough plugs, let's talk about it. So on Friday, Dead by Daylight tweeted out on their Twitter page a picture of all of the different perks that are going to be getting a rework in the upcoming patches, and this is pretty damn interesting. Now, I want you guys to know that this isn't going to necessarily mean all of these are going to be nerfed. In fact, they said very specifically that these are just going to be balanced. So that could entail some of them getting buffed, that can entail some of them getting nerfed. I'm going to try to let you guys know which ones are going to get buffed and which ones are going to get nerfed based on what we see. It's a little bit self-explanatory, but we'll still go ahead and try to show it to you guys. Anyways, take a look at all of the perks that you see on screen. We got some of the most used perks for Killer and Survivor. We can see Barbecue and Chili, Borrow Time, Corrupt Intervention, Iron Will, Self-Care, Spine Chill, Ruin, etc. And yes, Dead Hard is there too. So these are most likely all of the perks that we're going to be seeing changed, and it's going to be pretty damn interesting. Now, it's our job to determine what's going to get nerfed and what's going to get buffed. They did mention that we are going to be seeing some more information on all of this coming soon, next week. So they said that on Friday, so maybe we see some information tomorrow, because they also said more information on the Prestige system this week, so it'll be quite interesting. So let's take a look at all of these perks and kind of figure out what's going to get buffed and what's going to get nerfed based on, how the perk works in game. Tinkerer is something that probably is going to get nerfed considering how many people use it. Barbecue is something that will probably get nerfed. Borrow Time might get a more of a balanced state. They have mentioned in the past that they wanted to bring Borrow Time as base kit to survivors, which is pretty crazy. And if they do so, they're obviously going to have to figure out a way to balance the perk itself to work as a perk individually if the actual power becomes base kit. Anyways, let's carry on. Botany Knowledge will probably get a buff. Calm Spirit will probably get a buff. Corrupt Intervention, we are looking at a nerf. Chlorophobia, definitely a buff. Dark Devotion, definitely a buff. Dark Sense, definitely a buff. Dead Heart, 100% a nerf. Decisive Strike, 100% a nerf. And frankly, I'm just going to go through all the ones that are going to be nerfed, because everything else will obviously be buffed. We can probably see a nerf happening to Scourge Hook, to Eruption, to Iron Will, to Surge, to Noed, again with the Scourge Hooks. Pop Goes the Weasel, definitely a nerf. Ruin, definitely a nerf. Fanatophobia, definitely a nerf. Everything else I think might get a buff or just something to balance them out a little bit, but again, those are just my predictions. I think some of the obvious ones are there, like your Decisive, Dead Hard, Borrow Time, Ruin, Corrupt, Pop. Those are the ones that are obviously going to be getting a nerf and balancing to be better and more fair on both sides, and everything else is probably going to be buffed up to be a little bit more reliable. My honest opinion on the only way that they can do this successfully without just making a brand new meta again is breaking down a core perk into two different things. We've mentioned this in a past video, but I wanted to bring it back and basically take two aspects of any perk or create two aspects of a perk and break it down into two separate perks, so that way if the person wants the same benefit of what that really strong perk used to bring, it'll now be broken down into two things. Now I'm just going to show you guys a random example, and numbers aren't going to be accurate or anything, I'm just talking off the top of my head, but let's take Noed for example. It gives you a movement speed boost at the end of the game, as well as the ability to knock down a survivor and make them exposed. What if they broke that down into 2 separate states? And again, I'm not looking for comments saying, no, it is fine or no, it is broken. I'm just giving an example here. If they made it so that one perk allows the speed boost to happen when the exit gates are open, or when the last generator is popped, I should say, and the other perk makes it so that all survivors are exposed once the last generator is popped, you now have taken what NOED gave in 1 perk slot into 2 perk slots. So now, if you want to use that perk, you would have to use 2 perk slots instead of 1, meaning that you don't have the opportunity to use some other things like Pop Goes the Weasel, Corrupt Intervention, Barbecue and Chili. You're going to have to sacrifice one of those perk slots if you really want to use NOED. And then let's flip the script now. Let's say you want to run Barbecue and Chili. Now, 1 perk is going to make it so that you get the extra bonus blood points for every hook, while the other gives you the location of all the other survivors. By doing this, you now have to determine which one do you like better. Do you like the points or do you like the information? And if you want both of them, again, you're essentially boiling yourself down to just 2 perks, now labeled as 4 perks. This way, there's going to be a lot more synergy with different perks and some really crazy, ridiculous builds that you guys can make, because what you normally got as a base kit for a perk will now be on multiple different perks. And if you want that same strength that you used to have, you're going to have to put the 2 of them together to have some amazing synergy. This way, there's not going to be 1 perk that just stands out over the rest as being the perk to go to, because typically you see the same 4 perks as stats have shown on both Killer and Survivor. Now you're going to have to determine which part of the perk you like better and which perks work best with that section that you like the best, leading to different builds every time, different synergies every time, and obviously there will be a meta that's always going to be formed, but it won't be so strict that every single person uses it and relies on it. There'll be so much more variety for different builds, different playstyles, and different characters. That's my 2 cents on the whole thing, and we're gonna have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen, but it's gonna be pretty cool nonetheless. So that was a lot of talking. Let's go ahead and talk about the new stuff that is coming as well for the prestiging system. On screen right now, what you are seeing is Dwight. And, you know, he looks pretty standard until you look at the stuff on the left. You can see his name, Dwight Fairfield. He is level 50 in the Blood Web, and you can see that he is now Prestige level 1. His shareable perks are all locked, but as soon as you Prestige, you'll unlock all of the shareable perks at level 1, as you can see at the top. Every time you Prestige your character up until Prestige 3, those shareable perks will be upgraded 1 tier. So if you want to get level 3 of all of the perks on all of your survivors or killers, you'll have to get all of those characters to Prestige 3. Now remember, when you Prestige, you don't actually lose your items or your offerings or anything like that. You will keep them, and you will also keep all of your perks. So basically, you just need to Prestige and grind a little bit more, and you're basically cutting down the grind by maybe 200%. You're only going to have to do a quarter of what you're doing now in order to get the same results. I highly recommend to Prestige as much characters as you guys can during this event, and if time runs out, get all of your characters to Prestige 2 level 50 with every perk that you can possibly get. When the update drops, which we don't have an ETA for just yet, Prestige into the next one, and from there you'll have all of your perks for everybody at level 3, as well as all of your offerings from Prestige 2, and you're set to go. From here, you can Prestige even more on the characters you really like for the fun of it, to reset your Blood Web, whatever the case may be, and you can get them to different levels. Let me show you the other screenshot as well. We can see that the Huntress is a level 4, or level 1 I should say, Prestige 4, and you can see at the top her shareable perks are all level 3. So that means because she is over Prestige 3, you know, she's finished that one, every single killer is going to have Territorial, Lullaby, Beast of Prey at level 3 on their Blood Webs for everybody, just because she's Prestige 3. You don't need to go into that particular killer or survivor's Blood Web and constantly level up the perk. It'll already be there. And we also have a screenshot of the end game, and we can clearly see the prestige levels of all of the characters in our game. So we know how much hours someone has put into a specific character or killer. So if you run into a killer that's like prestige 200, you know that they probably play that killer quite a lot. We can also see something here on the HUD, which looks like our streamer mode, because you can see the name of the survivors, say Claudette, Nia, Meg, Dwight, and the twins. You can also see the usernames to the right of that, which is pretty cool. And I'm assuming you'll be able to actually hide that completely, so you only have the characters' names. Also, we see the twins. There's been a lot of talks about the twins getting a rework coming in the mid-chapter patch, so this is possibly something that is going to happen, and this could be a hint. And in the top right, we also see Maurice lives, so chances are Maurice is going to be coming back, which is quite cool. But my friends, that is pretty much all of the cool information that we received, and I did see a little bit of confusion in the comments. That is a prestige level, not your rank. Again, they took it out a long time ago, so if you're trying to, you know, say I beat someone that's so, you know, expertise or so good, you didn't. You didn't. This, again, will be the same thing as our grading system that shows if you're Iridescent 1. And again, if you beat someone that's Iridescent 1, it doesn't necessarily mean they're good. It just means they play the game a lot, which means they have more experience, but still, there's people with tons of experience, and they're still not good in their categories. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, subscribe down below. Again, over 70% of you guys are not subbed, so I'd appreciate it. Try to get 150,000 by the end of the year. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.